Namaste, guys.
She's also from the Parampara and Parashara scholar and does Jyotish and crypto. So she is going to be speaking on the power of manifestation. So
Yes.
give her a warm welcome.
No. Hi. Okay, so today I decided, because tomorrow I'm going sort of a little bit more niche. I'm talking about privacy coins and cryptocurrency. So I'm kind of going on the other end and sort of talking about manifestation because it seems to be a switch word, code word. You see it all over the place, Instagram, and, you know, just people talk about it, especially depending on your background. Everyone's exposed to it in different ways, right? But with this manifestation, part of me feels like it's a little bit overused and under-intellectualized. And I'll give you an example. I'm sure you've probably been to dinner parties or coffee with friends where they're like, you know, what would you wish for? You know, Aladdin's lamp, what do you want, right? And one thing and it might be my very former legal career where I'm very much about, you got to have a good contract, right? You got to word your contract really well, which is why be careful what you wish for, right? So for instance, one of my girlfriends was like, oh my God, I want to meet the love of my life. I want to be handsome and rich, and he's totally into me. And guess what? She got it, right? And it was great, except there was a caveat. He was married. So she didn't put that in the contract, right? And I know that seems a little bit namby-pamby, airy-fairy, but it's quite interesting because you know, whether you're in classes, in forums like this, where they're like, you know, what do you want? What do you want to manifest? People will be like, $1 million, right? And then, of course, there's a smart ass like me who's like, but $1 million in London is like maybe going to buy you a house, and how are you going to afford it? And how are you going to buy the groceries? You know what I mean? So you really have to sort of articulate what you want, because I see this over and over again where people sort of just go, just like, you know, it just becomes almost nebulous, where it's like there's no concrete. It's almost like you need that Saturn. You know, you need those corners and manifest. Yes.
If you own something, you've got to maintain it. It's not enough to have it.
Exactly.
You've got to
exactly.
Maintain it. That takes tremendous energy and money.
Exactly. It's things like that where people kind of forget about the sort of periphery and the viscerals. And I've just come back from Korea yesterday, and right now there's presidential elections. And what's really, really interesting in the Korean political sphere is that we're a relatively new modern country. We became a formalized country about 80 years ago. And we've had 11 presidents over the span of the new democracy. And yet half of the presidents have had a really bad ending to their presidency. One killed themselves because of all the issues. 4 of them went to jail. And just recently, you know, the one previously went to jail. No, the one previously right now had a coup, and this is why we're having an early presidential election. The previous one went to jail. The previous one went to jail. The previous one killed himself. So what I'm trying to say is it's really interesting that right now there are people clamoring to be president of Korea, even though it's a poison chalice, right? Because they think many things. They might be the exception to the rule, and unfortunately the exception to the rule is the exception to the rule. Most people we're not the exception to the rule, right? And so the joke right now in the streets of Korea and Seoul and what have you is that they're like, I can't believe these people are so desperate to want the seat of power, right? Imagine. And they're holding prayer services, and they're these famous sort of shamans, which are like the witches of Korea, because it's the old shamanistic religions. They have what they call these, it's almost like Celtic, Vedic, all in one. Well, they'll like stand on knives and have really elaborate fire rituals in the mountains. And they're paying tens of thousands of dollars publicly to these shamans so that they win the seat of power. And everyone's like, but that's such a poison chalice. So sometimes when people are very unilateral in their, like, what they want to manifest, which is usually, very simply, it's just about money. And it's interesting that here we're in this Mahalakshmi temple. And I don't know if many of you know this, but Lakshmi has 8 forms of being, right? And actually this morning, for those of you who are here, in Sanskrit, the pundit would have said Veera Lakshmi, Vijaya Lakshmi, and it's like saying the Lakshmi of victory. Because sometimes you need to win in life, because whether, you're a lawyer, for instance, you're an athlete, for instance, victory is key. Then there's Dana Lakshmi, for example, which is about wealth. There's Dhanya Lakshmi, which is about the grains, what kind of food you eat. And there's 8 different types of wealth. And I really like the fact that when you're here, it's not just like money. It's like this 8 spheres of well-being, right? So actually, it kind of broadens your scope, because I think too many people are in this like hamster wheel of, I just need money. If I just had money, if I just had $1 million, it'd be fine. And even though we see public and very on the news of celebrities with their downfalls, you think, well, they have millions and yet they're not happy. For some reason, we kind of ignored those aspects of it. So it's this real reminder to be able to know how to manifest intellectually. It's not just a spiritual sphere. This is a chart of Helen Hansel. I did her Navamsha and her main. Helen Hansel, she was known as the contest queen. And she basically won a house. I mean, she won so many contests, and she just said, I just concentrate on it. And I thought, well, hang on a second. This, it's like, because she wasn't like from, let's just say, a Vedic priesthood. She wasn't a shaman. It's not like she was a daughter of some like druid witches. She was a normal lay person. She said, I just concentrated. I needed a house, and I concentrated, and I bought a ticket for a house lottery. She got numerous overseas trips. She got cars. I mean, she literally, everything she wished for, she got. So I'll be simple for the people who have elementary Jyotish. I found her birth date. Now, I don't have her hour, but I have the date. And if you look, she's got sidereally, not tropically, but still, her Mars is at 27 degrees Capricorn, which is the highest form of exaltation. And of course, Mars is, in Jyotish, it's called Bhumi Karaka, which means it's the earth Karaka. So it's manifest, right? It's earth, it's wealth. Second house, let's just say, second house of wealth. And she had the natural power to manifest with her exalted Mars. And even in her Navamsha, she has a parivartana between Mars and Mercury, which once again makes it confirmed that it's a very, very powerful Mars. So I was just wondering if anyone wants to volunteer. Does someone have like an exalted Mars here?
We've got exalted Mars in Capricorn.
And do you find that, like, if you concentrate on something, that you can get it?
Well, we have Mars out of bounds.
Oh, that's even, okay.
But I would say
That's,
nearly everything I've ever wanted, I've got.
see, so Mars out of bounds is when a planet's usually from 23 degrees, it's a declination, and it's above the 2320. I think it's 2320, isn't it? And then that makes it very exaggerated. So it's almost like, forget if it wasn't Capricorn. If any planet is out of bounds, it makes you a little bit more eccentric. It's almost like having an exaggerated, either a debilitation or an exaltation. But usually when you find charts, you should go through it'll say, like if you go to astro.com, for example, because in Jyotish, they do use delineations, they do, but it's not sort of ranked as high. But in tropical, even though it's not ranked as high, it's still ranked higher, because if you go to astro.com and you go to the extra things on the PDF, it shows your declination.
If it's in red, it means it's out of bounds. So we've
Yeah.
got to do it for you. Mars, Saturn conjunction in Capricorn. And then also we have Mercury and Mars out of bounds.
Both of them, oh
I
wow.
would say I was actually manifesting before I realised what it was. I mean, I don't want money, I just wanted to work in the Caribbean. It's like yes or no, have you been able to
But you did, right?
all the jobs I've wanted abroad and travel, yes.
See, and it's funny because Mars is a natural ruler for people who are Scorpios, because Scorpio is their ascendant lord, right? Mars, K2 and Mars, but still Mars. And Aries is also Mars. So there's something about, you know how when they did the, do you remember, I forgot what his name is, I think it was like a Germanic name, and he did this statistical thing to prove astrology, and the richest people were Geminis and also Scorpios. Yeah, I think, yeah. And I mean, Gemini is Mercury, Mercury's money, so that's sort of obvious. But the Scorpio thing is about the manifestations. So when there's different types of wealth, remember, wealth, just like we talked about how Ashtalakshmi is, I mean, even in London, you probably meet tons of people in London, and there's lots of wealthy people in London, but everyone has wealth derived from a different way. Some people are self-made, some people are trust fund kids, right? You know what I mean? There's different types of wealth, and there's something about the Mars, and maybe it's also the aspect, because if Mars is in Capricorn and Jyotisha is a 4-house aspect, so Mars will look at its own sign in Aries. It looks at its debilitation sign because obviously it's in exalted. But there's something about a debilitated planet that can give wealth, according to Jyotish. So it's this exaggerated state, right? For instance, like Ambani has a debilitated sun. His wife has a debilitated moon. So if you went in saying, oh, these people have a debilitated luminary, they won't be wealthy, well, they would be fabulously wrong, because the deeper you go into Jyotish, you realize a debilitation and exaltation are exaggerated forms of something. So you will have an exaggerated aspect of that, the significators of that planet. So, you know, this morning when we did this fire ceremony and the priest said to do the mudra, it's called the sankalpa. And sankalpa in Sanskrit means intention or desire, right? So it's like, he goes, right, set your desire. So you set your desire in your head, and afterwards we stated our names and our, Gotra, which means what kind of tribe you are, and also your lunar mansion name, right? But then you went like this, put it on there, and you put it on the right hand. And it's interesting because mudras, as you know, we just saw Sonal show us 2 different mudras for 2 different purposes. That Sankalpa mudra literally means like, I'm going to wish for something, and we're going to concentrate, and we're going to manifest it with our hands. And interesting, in the nakshatras, Hasta, which is the lunar mansion of hands, which is in Virgo, is also sort of the magicians. You find a lot of magicians with a Hasta signature, right? Whether it's your moon, sun, what have you, okay? Hasta is really big. But also, the hands are supposed to be the seat of Lakshmi. So there is actually a morning prayer that you're supposed to do to Lakshmi, where you look at the top of your fingertips, and that's Lakshmi. The middle of your hand is Saraswati, about learning, and at the palm is Govinda. So, you know, Lakshmi is in your hands, which is why they say don't stay idle, because if you stay idle, you know, you're not going to actually gain wealth. You have to constantly be doing something, because you're activating Hasta, you're activating Lakshmi, and also Hasta, the hand, is, once again, manifestation. What's man? I know in Sanskrit, man is the mind, but in English, manifestation is the hand, right? So it's like the doing, right? Taking care of your hands. The Hasta is also the moon. Moon is the 2nd house of wealth. So there's constant recurring narratives when it comes to the mudras and wealth and, you know, all these kind of things. When you think about these things, I want you to kind of think about it objectively, because so many people kind of talk about manifestation as a namby-pamby thing. I want you to kind of get your legal brain on and be like, right, if I needed to draft this contract, God or the spirits or whatever, you know, spirit, you know, energy forces, how are you going to set the clauses, what you want? Be more specific about it. Because I'm sure you probably have your own anecdotal things where people wanted, you know, wished for something and got it, but it ended up not being what they wanted, right? So all I'm saying is, because too many people are just kind of putting things out in the air, not realizing, like I said, you know, you want a house, but then now it's like you got to come up with a property tax. I want you to sort of broaden the scope, you know, think layers upon layers. Don't be too simplistic. And just sort of get your legal kind of brains on. And also, don't forget the hands. I think the mudras are actually kind of underrated. But having said that, it's kind of like mantras. are you doing them right? How are you going to do it? Even when she showed us the Narasimha mantra, it was like, do we point up? Do we point down? Like, what are we supposed to do during it? Should we wash our hands before? Probably a good idea. Should we sit down and concentrate? Because also, when you're manifesting, a lot of people are like, oh, I want, let's just say, a car. They're like, oh my God, what's going on there? Oh, da, da. And you get sidetracked, but that's part of your manifestation that you're sending out, and you're going, oh God, I like her jeans. Oh, I don't like her shoes though. And then you're like, oh yeah, sorry, I want a car. A lot of people get sidetracked, and you grab these sort of cosmic dust and energy, and you have to kind of be careful when you're manifesting. Concentrate, it's, if you're going to do it, take it with solemnity and sort of be serious about it. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, sorry.
So, I don't know, maybe to explain it, but
Yeah.
is there a particular time of the moon cycle that it's better to do manifestation?
I'm a lot of, funny enough, Sanjay, which is our Jyotish guru, on one of the sort of informal talks that he did, he always said that Hasta was probably, we know that the moon exalts in Taurus, and Rohini is, one of the most beautiful, sort of abundant and fecund lunar mansions, but there was something about the Hasta Nakṣatra. Savitur, but also it was the hands. Once again, it's the hands, the Lakshmi element. So it kind of goes forward. And then the next sign after that is Libra, which is also a communal harvesting time, right? Because it's the fall, it's a balance of scales. And then obviously there's different, how do I say this? There's different quote unquote tantric, and when I say tantric, it's not the Western tantric. It's like, what muhurta are you going to use? What lunar mansion are you going to do? What's your lunar mansion, right? Where is your Mars? You also kind of want to do that, but then that's a whole nother topic that realistically there is no one delineation, because I've seen different paramparas, whether it's Jyotish, just normal Vedic, versus like even when we come here to do, let's just say a yagya, the priest will say, no, do it some other day, right? So even there, even a basic non-tantric, basic Vedic ritual, even they have preferences. So for instance, Bhairav, they would like to do it Sunday, Tuesday, Saturday, Thursdays, by the way, is a great day for everything. Thursdays in general, which is why temples are usually really busy on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and obviously on the weekend. But that's another thing. But like for instance, where's your moon? Only if you want to answer.
For example, I've got Jupiter moon in Jupiter moon.
Okay, great. But where is it?
In second house, for example.
But where is it? What nakshatra? Maga.
Nice check.
Okay, and you've got it both in the same.
Yeah, but all of that, and yeah.
Okay, so. Do you guys do like a lunar diary? Do you do a diary every day of like, okay, I felt good today, this happened today? I don't mean like a whole Anne Frank diary. I mean, just like I had a good day, bad day. And then the thing is really important to do that, because over years you see repetitive things, which is how astrology came by, right? Because you have observation. Right? You go, oh, today's a full moon. Everyone's crazy. Oh, today's new moon. I don't have an appetite. I'm being simplistic here, but it's really important if you to have like a nakshatra diary, dare I say? Okay, perfect. So see what it's like. Try it. Because for instance, like, it's so mainstream, this manifestation, before the word manifestation came, because I remember my father would pray to the patron saint of car parks, which is Saint Cabrini. Now, it's not an official patron saint, but it's an unofficial patron saint. So what I'm trying to say is people pray for all sorts of things. It's not always like, I just want to marry the love of my life. It's like some people are like, God, please let there be a parking space in front of the, dentist's office. Do you know what I mean? So you could see your own track record. I always say keep a diary, right? And see how you go. But on your natal moon, most people, do a meditation on their monthly moon return, right? So today, right now, it's Uttar Bhadrapada as we speak right now. So, Uttar Bhadrapada in Pisces, or it's actually early signs, tropical Aries. Just see your own recurrences. Does that make sense? Your own narratives. But yeah, there's certain moons that everyone does. The exalted moons, right?
You've got this Theravada table, 999.
Yeah.
First nine is really big.
Yeah.
But don't you have to take into account the nature of that nakshatra? For example, Ardha is quite fierce and very. Doesn't it depend on what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that is now you're getting, if you're going to go there, right, that's another whole tantric thing. We're talking about like, you know, just like the teenage girl who's on Instagram and wants to like, I don't know, she wants good skin and she wants a boyfriend. Sometimes you can either go really simple, or if you're going to go hard, you go hard. But they're just basic rules, right? Just like how, Prashtravedis was like, he simplified the Ayurveda, right? Otherwise, sometimes you go to some Ayurvedic things and you just think, I'm never going to get a hang of this. I'm just talking about, I've seen so many people, like I said, wish in a weird way. I'm like, why are you wishing for that? That doesn't even make sense. Do you get my point?
Sometimes I just look at the ephemeris and look to what aspects the moon's making. It's that.
If it works for you, you know, because the thing is, you have to remember something. Someone like Helen Hansel, who was a contest queen, I don't think she did Jyotish. I genuinely think for past life karma, whatever, she was just a naturally gifted manifester. Just the way some people are naturally gifted at running. Some people are naturally have a great metabolism. You know what I mean? There's certain things that are just effortless.
I think she just had a strong intention to win.
No, and she had a Mars at 27 Capricorn, which really helped.
I think what's the richest man on earth?
Elon Musk also has a 27 Capricorn, along with Rahu.
It's got it in the 8th house.
Yeah, go on.
When James has finished, I just want to add something.
Yeah, go on.
Finish.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I've been keeping a manifestation diary for years. I've got so many journals now, and I've actually done the chart at the moment according to the season.
Amazing.
I use oils as well. I find it's more powerful if I do a dance ritual rather than I'm in my mind. I'm actually in my body.
Can I ask, I mean, once again, you don't have to answer. Where is your Saturn? You said it's with Mars. Okay. The reason why I say that is dance is Saturn, right? So you find people who are amazing dancers have a strong Saturn, okay? Whether it's by aspect, sign, or position, like 7th house, for example, or 10th house, right? Your Mars exalted is with the Saturn in its own sign. So that Saturn with the dance is really going to come alive. It's like, you know, handing a truffle on a golden platter, right?
I will say I've never wanted to manifest money, but I mean, probably the most profound, quickest response I ever had is I decided I would manifest love in my life.
Yeah.
Don't ask for the details.
Yeah, no, I won't.
I left my house. Within 20 minutes, I was stalked by someone. He turned out to be a psycho. So please be very careful.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Like, my friend manifested what, like, because I remember we were joking about it. It happened, and then he was married. So it was like, you know, it's...
You wish it for a car and then you get a toy one.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
It was really one day, because I was moving house and I was going to block off a door.
Yeah.
But that's just going to cost me too much in building. I'm just going to put a wardrobe in front of it. What wardrobe? Kept going to the Heart Foundation and just looking around and I was just like, I can't think of anything. I've got this other 2 bits of furniture that are quite similar. I was just at home, I was like, I'm just going to go to the Heart Foundation, just have a look around, you know.
Yeah.
And it was there. Perfect.
What you wanted.
Matching. Like, I didn't even think I wanted that until I saw it, and it was just perfect.
Where's your son, may I ask? Only if you want to answer.
Paris.
And how recent was this incident?
It's about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so Saturn had left Aquarius, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. But the reason why I asked that is because the heart is, the heart, sun is the heart. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I was wondering where your son was.
Yeah, yeah.
Because sometimes these little things kind of fester. Yeah, if you can see it. Yeah. Do you know what moon it was by any chance? What nakshatra it was?
No, it was a couple of Saturdays ago. No, where was it?
Okay, no, but I'm just saying, like, it's interesting to see that kind of a thing.
Just before the full moon.
Okay, so
On the Saturday, it was full moon on the Monday.
yeah, okay, yeah.
So it was full moon in Libra.
Yeah. I think it was Vishaka, wasn't it? Yeah, Vishaka. Because also the thing about the Ashtalakshmi, which is really, really interesting, is this. Was it Howard Hughes? There was that guy who was like a billionaire of his time, but he locked himself up and he only ate like stale food, right? So for instance, he had Dana Lakshmi, which means money, but Dhanya Lakshmi, which was foods and grain, was not there, right? There are certain, like, I'll give you another example. There are certain type of people, and I'm sure we've all seen it before. They're like so rich on paper, right? They're worth like, I don't know, so much, but they live in a crap house. And you think, not that I'm saying you need gold chandeliers, but I'm like, why don't you get a comfortable couch? Just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even asking for a lot, right? So what I'm trying to say is like, there's different types of bounty that we have as well. So for instance, you may be like, oh, I'm not a multimillionaire, but maybe you have really great friends, you have a really great family, which as we know, you can't buy. And we have to also be kind of thankful of like, which of the 8 Lakshmis, do I have? Also thank them, right? Say thanks for giving me a great house or, husband, kids, whatever talents. Because also, a lot of people, that thing about gratitude, even though it sounds corny, I think it's nice. It's like, when you share appreciation even to your friends and family, be like, thanks for like having been there when I was, and even as us, we're like, oh, no worries. Thank you for, remembering that or something. I think it's also kind of, we need to be thankful, not always be like, hey, Lakshmi, can you give me this? Hey, Shiva, can you like beat him up? You know what I mean? It's not like that. You just have to always be like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, and there's nothing wrong with asking,
it's the gift of giving. So by giving, it's the only way to get that reciprocal love coming back.
Yeah.
And that's the way we'll all kind of fill our cups.
Yeah. But yeah, and also another thing about in the tantric, this is just a by the by, but I just want to put it in there, and you can do your kind of DYOR, say do your own research. Is like while you should ask for stuff, make sure that it's worth the energy and the time and the effort to ask for it. You know what I mean? The reason why is sometimes if it's like silly and you're spending all that time like manifesting and praying, or when you could have been, I don't know, gone to a charity, gone for a nap, gone for a walk, gone for a bike, spent time with your family. There's also this kind of weird thing, because some schools of Tantra say that every time you wish for something, you get it. Something else, it's at a cost of something else, right? Yeah. Now, I don't, listen, yeah, I mean, do you know what I mean? So it's like, equally, you don't always want to be like, okay, give me this, give me this, give me this. You probably get it, but at what expense? Like in Korea, they say, be moderate about it, because in Korean shamanistic folklore, they say it takes away your longevity. So it's like, you want, let's just say, I'm being simple here, let's just cut and talk. You want $1 million, I'll give you $1 million. That's 5 years off your life. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to give you this thing that it's not actually that simple. And a lot of the IG and Facebook manifest people don't tell you the clause in the contracts. Listen, I don't know if this is 100%, but it's kind of my dharmic duty kind of to tell you about it.
Did you check is he still alive, the contest?
No, she passed away. But you know what, if you go on YouTube.
Young when she died.
You know what, I don't know, but I think she's lived a moderate life, like in terms of longevity, right? But having said that, she got everything she wanted, but it's not like, it's interesting. This is another thing about Helen Hansel. She was quite like meat and potatoes kind of girl. What I mean by that is, I don't think she ever wanted anything bigger. Like she was like, I want a house, I want a backyard, I want a car, I want an annual trip to Europe. I'm done. You get my point? So it's not like she was that greedy, right? But then having said that, I think she lived in like Illinois or something. Like she came from a normal, very normal, back then when there was more of a middle class, and like now. She was like a normal, like middle class, suburban, Midwestern woman. So back then, this is another thing that comes back to contextuality, is a trip to Italy once a year was something that only multimillionaires did. I mean, now we're kind of used to just hopping on a plane and traveling, right? It's no big deal. You don't have to be a millionaire. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Even now, for an American to like go to Italy once a year, it's kind of a big deal. So I guess back then that was her goal. But then part of me was like, why didn't she like, I don't know, no offense, but I was going, if she's that good, why didn't she like go for like the South of France villa? But no, she didn't, right? Because that was not in her remit. You know, she just thought, okay, mortgage-free house, that's great. But then that's contextuality because it's what you're, you know, used to. And but it's funny because the priest once down here, someone was talking to him about wanting for a job. And what really was really interesting was he was like, you know, sometimes just pray. Don't pray for that job because you might get something better, but you might have gotten that job. You know that thing sort of like Helen Hansel. I go, why didn't she like dream bigger? But her level of dreaming was only up to there because she was from a middle class thing. So she was like, I'll dream for a doctor's salary, and that was what she kind of got. Do you know what I mean? So the priest was just like, no, just pray, and something better might come along. And he kind of looked at the priest like, no, I need this job. You know what I mean? So his desperation was focused on the job. And the priest was like, stand back and just, you know, let the gods take care of you. So it's complicated, this manifestation thing. I don't think it's like as easy as these like gurus purport it to be, right?
My understanding, Naomi, sorry.
Yeah, no, totally.
Is when people talk about wanting to manifest something, you have to believe you already have it, and it isn't in the future, it's in the moment. Magic's happening in the now, not in the past, not in the future.
Yeah. But the thing about that, I think see what's kind of unfair with that concept, and I believe in that concept as well, and I've seen it happen and I can do it like that as well. But what happens to, like, for instance, one of my friends, he's just always depressed, right? And he didn't have a happy childhood. He's never had a relationship, and he's now 36. He doesn't understand that feeling of financial, like, security. He can't tap into it. It's like me. I don't know what it's like to walk on Mars, right? So it's like, do I want to go to Mars? Okay, pretend I'm on Mars with Elon Musk. I can't, do you know what I mean? I can't tap into that. Do you know what I mean?
But, you know, it's really interesting. I've enjoyed your presentation, but I think also it's incumbent upon all of us to work on healing our own trauma and healing our own ancestral trauma.
Yeah.
Being in balance as well. It's not just one
100%.
thing.
Exactly.
There's so many. And it's just
totally
in touch with our emotions. If we're not working on resolving issues or forgiving people because they thought, well, you know what, I've tried this relationship, it hasn't worked, people haven't changed. I can just tolerate them now and just give everything back to God because I've tried for 10 years, for example. It hasn't worked and I'm just letting it go.
Yeah.
So it's like achieving a state of grace, but also, I mean, I know from what I said about manifesting something, I also manifested a home specifically when the moon was in my natural fourth house chart.
Mm-hmm.
And I set the intention that I'd have the house by the summer, which is Cancer is a sign of the home. And I actually signed a contract within 3 to 5 days of the sun going into Cancer, which is where I am now. So I think these things are possible, but
see, you also have this, sorry, but I can't discount your exalted Mars.
Thank you, but also I think if you always want to be of service and give, and you have a state of gratitude, and you're always trying to make the world a better place, I think the universe does give back to you, and you may not see it or even recognise your blessings, let's say, but it's much bigger than just wanting something.
Yeah.
I agree with you, and having, as you said, the priest's perspective about, well, don't limit your options, just
pray.
Because I wonder if I've got a massive failure of imagination sometimes, because I just can't think of what I want to manifest. Like, at the moment.
Okay, then a quick question. Aladdin says, let's play. Let's just have a little thing. Right now, you're going to get $500,000. No, just $500,000. You won second prize at the national lottery. What are you going to do?
Well, I'd just go to travelling straight away. I'd go to India straight away.
Okay, so there you go. But can I ask, what is it about India? Because realistically, you didn't just say travel. You said something about India, right? So what is in India that's not in London? And now I know, but I'm using my subjectivity. What is it in India for you?
Well, I've got my family there. I've got friends there. I just love India. I'm half Indian. I haven't been back since 2010, so I just think I'm due a visit. And I'd like to go on and see other places as well, and places I haven't been to in India.
Okay, but so do you think it's the ancestral? Are you trying to tap into the ancestral energy? Because it's funny, a lot of people want to get away from their family. So it's interesting. You're like, hey, family, let me come to you. You know, it's interesting.
I want to live with them, right?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm joking, but equally, like, some people don't want to vacation with them. Yeah.
Maybe write a book there.
See, so it's interesting because you have actually gotten past the immediacy of just money. You actually are. It's good. It's actually it shows no offense. I mean, a development of character. Some people are just like, I just want $1 million. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, yeah. And what are you going to do with it? You know what I mean? And it's like they haven't even thought that through. You know what I mean? But whereas you're like, I'd like to write a book. So basically, you want the bandwidth, the financial flexibility where you can exhale and you know what, you're going to twinkle your toes and you're going to have a think at a cafe and people watch and you're going to come up with ideas, right?
Play and do creative stuff,
yeah.
Because I was saying that to you at lunch, just using different tools and just playing with art rather than it has to be something really serious and it's going to be your career and you've got to make a fortune out of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be good, right?
But I think that's amazing. So have you thought one day, just one day, can you go to an art center or an art class and tap into that? But do you know what I'm trying to say? Can you do that? Because a lot of people do stuff overseas that they never do here. The same thing about people watching on a cafe. Because on Saturday it's I gotta do the laundry. I really should, clean out those cupboards. Whereas when you're in India, you can't clean out your cupboards because your cupboards are in London. Yeah. Well, that's for me anyway. That's why I'm like, okay, I'm going to, just walk around aimlessly. Whereas I don't walk around aimlessly in London. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to do that. But India gives me that, right? So but it's really nice. I think that right now you kind of hit the thing. You have levity and bandwidth.
Yeah.
That's your goal.
Yeah. Just be able to give enough, so I'm not worrying about those mundane things, and just being able to just have a go at lots of different things and have ventures.
Yeah, and it's funny though. I find that when we ask these kind of questions, even from psychological experience, things because before I thought I was going to be a shrink, and I stopped that. Because when people go, I'm going to give you 10 million. What are you going to do? A lot of people can't actually digest 10 million. They're like, oh, let me talk to my accountant. I'm going to have to get a financial plan and let me get back to you on it. I'm like, come on, guys. But when I say, what are you going to do with 10,000? They know straight away. They're like, I'm going to pay my credit card. I'm going to book a flight, right? So it's kind of, even that shows our brains can't actually expand that well to extremes. Does that make sense? Because if I said to you, for instance, 20 million quid. What are you going to do right now? Give me 3 things.
Me?
Well, you go.
20 bars of gold, 1 kilo each, and the rest I'll donate to charity.
Aww.
But you know what? I said 3 things and you only gave me 2. So you failed. Just kidding. No, but can I ask? I mean, you don't have to, but you answer. But why 20 bars of gold? Because you were quite specific. 20 bars of gold, 1 kilo,
Because you were equally specific about 20 million, so 20 was the first number.
Got it.
Anything that was left to charity and then divisibles by that, so just easy.
And then how are you going to lug that gold, by the way? Because
I'm not.
20.
It's just something.
You're going to put it in your house?
Wherever.
He's not going to tell
I'll bury
anyone.
it.
He's got a
Okay.
I'm going to bury it somewhere.
No, but that's nice too. I like that. Because you've kind of compartmentalized your.
Maybe that's Indian in me.
Yeah, it's that safety, right? It's about
Intuition
safety.
is a strong thing. Just like you were saying, you wanted to go to India.
Yeah.
And you were specific. So a lot of people go, well, maybe I need to go to this special temple or pray to a specific deity. Whereas intuition's beamed into you, and then you know what to do straight away. You don't necessarily have to tune into something.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
What I really like,
Yes.
Tara wasn't sure about what you really want to do, but you asked a direct question, I want to go to India.
Yeah.
Oh, I I'm very excited about it.
That's why it was kind of cool because she wasn't being a normie. She wasn't, sorry, but it's an insult, but it's true. A normie, normies are like, house. You know what I mean? And I'm like, but you have a house. So I like the fact that you tapped into it. It's like, you want to be creative. You just want to have like cerebral play. You want bandwidth.
And yeah, and I've got a Barney moon as well, which made me just think then actually. That's really creative, isn't it?
It's really creative, and also you've got to incubate. So Barney moons, because it's the womb,
Yeah.
just says when you give birth, you need to gestate the embryo for 9 months.
Yeah.
You actually have to hold it in, and you must not actually, okay, apart from this, we can't talk about what she wants anymore, because with Barney especially, although it happens with most manifestation, you have to keep it silent, kind of hidden. People don't tell people you're pregnant until 3 months. You gotta remember that. Don't tell people everything.
People things that has never happened.
Don't do it. Oh my God. First of all, that's rule number one. Barney is even more exaggerated. You must
In
not.
your family.
Yeah.
No one.
So
It
you can't
was.
speak it into truth.
It was.
You
Yeah.
can't speak it into truth.
You cannot. In fact, to be honest with you, very rarely can you speak it into truth. I'm sorry. Unless it's an official mantra. If you're going to make I'm going to have a house, no. It has to be an actual official, Vedic mantra with tons of Shakti, thousands of years. That's we're talking something else. But if you're going to make up your own mantra,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. It just doesn't. Sorry.
So in your head only.
Because you have to gestate it.
Okay.
But Barney,
You can't breathe it, you have to live it.
9 months. Okay, 3 months, you don't tell nobody. And this is not even a magician. It's not even a tantra thing. Most people won't tell other people, even their family, they're pregnant until after that safe period, right? So remember that. Remember that.
I had this example, I lived there for quite a while, and I remember in my 20s, I'm that young, my 20s something, because it was new country, new culture and everything, and then in our culture as well, African, we tend to share things.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it's good thing. Actually, it's not. You share things with neighbor, every single person who comes to your house, and then you actually tend to welcome any neighbor, anybody just can walk in the house. So I had that culture. I came here, and then I remember in the first years, I was struggling a lot, but I didn't understand why. I used to share everything with my mom and my aunt. I used to live with her, and then nothing that my wishes, my desires, never used to get accomplished. I had them, just there in a place, but I used to share with them because that was culture.
But also,
and it never happened.
I'm not going to divulge your chart, and I'll tell you why I think in your case it didn't, because of your moon. Okay, but for instance, I'll just give a tip. Your exaltation, everyone's got, or own sign, or your best planet. Let's put it this way, your best planet, that day, unless it's a Saturday, because apparently you shouldn't do anything on a Saturday, which is why, for instance, in Judaism, a lot of Seventh-day Adventists, they don't do anything on Saturday, right? Because actually on Saturday, it's not the day to do stuff. It's tapasya. It is, you're supposed to have toil, right? Or if you're going to work really hard. Okay. Apart from that, try something needless, like I say, a parking spot. See how you go. Keep a diary. Okay. And also, if you're going to speak, funny enough, that speaking the truth, you can write your truth in a diary. But you can't speak it. For the layman, because we're not tantrikas. I don't know, you might be a tantrika. Sorry, I don't know. I don't want to overstep my mark. If you're a tantrika, you do you, your parampara, your guru. But just common sense, because there was a common sense in wishing and manifesting and, because, right, even with this example about the 500,000 versus just a blank page, it's tougher. right? So you kind of even, maybe you want to like put the corners in and see like, right, what would I do with 10,000 pounds? What would I do with 25,000 pounds? And see how your mind expands, just the way we saw with Tara, how if it's too nebulous, it's like, where do you want to go? I don't know. You know how we have that like monologue, even with ourselves or with our family? What do you want to eat tonight? I don't know. What do you want to eat tonight? And even eating a dinner, for crying out loud, it's just like the choices in our head, and we have like choice paralysis, right? So it's like, I'm like, well, if you can't figure out what you want for dinner, like how the heck are you gonna like will your best life, right? And also I think it's really, once again, you know, your demons, your ancestral trauma, your this life trauma, whatever, because it's like, their self-sabotage is also real, but that's another talk show, right? You know what I mean? And we see it a lot of times, even with like, let's just say celebrities who you can tell they've wanted something, they've gotten it, and they've just combusted because they can't actually handle it. And there is something, I gotta tell you something, I don't know if because you know, I've talked to a lot of people over the years, and sometimes, you know, that expectation of a trip, you know, when you have a trip planned, and you've booked all your hotels and your flights tomorrow and you're really excited. You know that feeling? That feeling sometimes is better than the actual trip. Do you know what I mean? Because on the actual trip, you got food poisoning and you're jet lagged and you're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And then when it's done, you're like, it was great, but there's nothing quite like that anticipation right before it's about to happen. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I wonder if some people are just thriving on that almost expectancy, but not quite getting there. Because there is something that yearn, and you see it, you hear it time again in so many interviews, podcasts, where people are like, oh man, that road up, my first million was the best. And they're like, what about the next 990 million? Yeah, that was boring. But my first million, you know, you know, that journey kind of aspect. So I think it's really good psychologically to also know your triggers. Are you the expectant type, or are you actually, no, I actually want to be on my pool cabana, Naomi. Don't be ridiculous. I don't want to be in the business class lounge. I want to be by the pool. I get it. And some people like that thing of talking about their holiday at dinner parties, right? So you think about it, and I want you to kind of elaborate it in your own head. Like, am I the expectant? Am I in the middle? Am I the, you know, reminiscer? And just kind of, yeah, think about it. Yeah, tell me.
Are you about to finish?
Yeah, I'm finished. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah, tell me.
If nobody minds,
Yeah.
I didn't know what a Barney moon was. So
Barney.
Oh, Baron.
It's it's BHARANI.
Barani.
Barani. And in sidereal, it's actually in Aries, but in tropical, it's actually exalted in Taurus, funny enough. But it's the triangle, and the triangle is, first of all, it's in Vedic, it's Shakti, which is the female creation, but also flipped over, it's reminiscent of the moon. So that's why the sort of totem for Barney is actually the female womb. But it's also ruled by Venus, even though it's the house is ruled by, depending on what astrology go to, either exalted or not. Yeah.
It has connotations of the female vagina.
Yeah, the womb. Yeah, the womb. Yeah. So a lot of it's very creative, and also the funny thing about because funny enough, I'm married to a Barney moon. And I heard this with another teacher that I studied, but nakshatras. And you know, sometimes even if you think other teachers, whatever, there's that one thing that they say that sticks to you. And I asked, and actually I'm gonna, if you don't mind me asking you something. Have you ever had a thing about time? Because for instance, the few Barney moons I know, they'll be like, I had a time warp, or it's like, they did like mind manifestation, like I'm gonna stop that clock. And like they stop the clock. Like there's a lot of telekinesis with it could be untapped. Have you ever had something where you like Daybird Copperfield bending the spoon kind of moment?
I mean, in my wilder days, I've been to a party and it's just got to like the next day. I'm like, what? How did it get to that time? I don't know if I just.
Because ironically, Saturn debilitates in Barney, and so they said that there's something about Kali and time. So there's these kind of aspects to it, but yeah. And it's actually depending on which nakshatra cycle you use, because Vedic astrology is such that there's so many different points. Some say it starts at Ashwini, and if it starts at Ashwini, the second nakshatra is Bharani. And, number 2 is like money, right? It's like 2 kind of Taurus, etc. So there's that implication with it. But it is a very fecund, but that's why I want you to remember, how do I say this? Saturn debilitates there. So with time, there could be issues. Time, your discipline could be kind of hampered sometimes, because you just want to just create, and you're always like this. So something hemming you in, then you just almost collapse. There's no sort of, hey, like, back up. Do you know what I mean? It's like the walls can kind of come in on you. But yeah, that's, Bharani is like the second.
It's a hard one, I think.
In some paramparas, they say that Bharani has a lot of, but the thing is, karma and baggage. But my retort to that, just intellectually, is who doesn't?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Krishna had an exalted moon, but did he have an easy life? No. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you do have to kind of be a bit more, I'm not saying you're not, but you can't just be like, oh my God, yeah, it's such bad karma. You gotta be a little bit more lucid. Yeah? But do Rohini moons have a certain je ne sais quoi? 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you.